Shabbat Shalom. And it's almost a Chag Sameach. We just have to wait a few more weeks. People say, so Rabbi, how do you feel now that the high holidays are over? I'm like, they're not. This is the weekend in between everything, because we had Rosh Hashanah and then Yom Kippur, as we know, and then now we've got Sukkot and Simchat Torah. So we're still in the middle of high holidays, and so you'll hear some of the high holiday melodies this morning, as we said. I'd just like to do a shout out to the 3 other, besides myself, West Coast supporters this morning. Go West Coast. I have the beamer, so I get to say that. Be nice. We just went through Yom Kippur. Who? I guess congratulations to the Magpies are in order. I'd like to welcome all of you who are joining us through our World Wide Web. Aren't you glad you're not in shul this morning with this kind of rivalry? This Shabbat is Ha'azinu, Let Us Hear. It's a beautiful song. It's one of the few songs that are in the Torah, and we'll hear both Caroline and Patrick chant from Ha'azinu. Patrick in honor of his bar mitzvah. He had his bar mitzvah this time last year, so mazel tov. How do you feel being 14? The growth is doing pretty well. Let us join together on page 194 for Asher Yatzar, the blessing for our bodies. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher yatza et ha'adam b'chokhmah, u'bara'avo nekavim, chalulim, galui v'yadua lifnei chisei chavodecha, שאם יפתח אחד מהם או יסתם אחד מהם אי אפשר להיקיים ולעמוד לפניך ברוך אתה אדוני רופא כל בשר ומפליא לעשות. Page 198, and Josh is going to lead us in the Nisim this morning.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'chibina l'havim ben yom u'ben laila.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam bokei achivrim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zoket kefufim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah haaretz al hamayim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechim mitzadei gaver.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten layadef koach.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir shenai me'enai u'numan me'afatai.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzelem Elohim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani ben horim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozir Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen.
Baruch atah
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. So Josh, to ask you a question about Torah, which footy team do you go for?
I don't go for any footy team.
That's a safe answer. Please join together with me on page 204 for Vaharevna. Vaharevna Adonai Eloheinu et divrei Toratacha b'finu u'b'fi amcha beit Yisrael. V'nihyeh anachnu v'tze'ta'enu v'tze'ta'ei amcha beit Yisrael. Kulanu yudei shemecha v'lomdei Toratecha lishma. Baruch atah Adonai hamlamed Torah la'amo Yisrael.
Devarim she'elahem shiur
the section known as Kaddish de Rabbanan. Kaddish, they're separated out for those who are willing to study, who are willing to learn, and who are willing to teach. I find by experience, not by reasoning, but by my own discovery that God is near me, and I can be near God at all times. I cannot explain it, but I am sure of my experience, as I am of the fact that I live and love. I cannot explain how I have come to live and love, but I know I do. In the same way, I know I am in contact with God. Let us move forward to the Sukkah de Zimra on page 212.
Baruch Shama v'hayaolam, Baruch, Baruch Oseh Bereshit, Baruch Omer Ve'oseh, Baruch Gozer U'Mekayem, Baruch Merachem al haaretz, Baruch Merachem al habriot, Baruch Meshalem Tzachar Tov Lireach, Baruch Chai La'ad, Mekayam Lanetzach, Baruch Bodeh U'Masir, Baruch Shemo.
B'shvachot u'smirot nagadeh lecha, u'neshabechecha, u'nefa'erecha, v'nazkir shimcha, v'namlichecha, Malkeinu Eloheinu. Yachid Chei Ha'olamim, Melech Meshubach u'mefa'ar adei ad Shemo hagadol. Baruch atah Adonai, Melech Mahulal v'tishbachot.
Mizmor shir le'yom haShabbat, tov le'odot la'Adonai, u'lezamer le'shimcha elyon, u'lezamer le'shimcha elyon. Mizmor shir le'yom haShabbat, tov le'odot la'Adonai, u'lezamer le'shimcha elyon, u'lezamer le'shimcha elyon. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי אסור עלינה, ולעלי היליון וכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך העליון, ולזמר לשמך העליון. כי סימנתני אדוני בקולך, במעשה ידיך רבה. עננו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. משוואה לא ידע, וכסה לי אויבי נאזור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך העליון, ולזמר לשמך העליון, ולזמר לשמך העליון. שדתי פתחתי אפרת, כארץ מרום, ארון לא יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהים. לדוד, הרוממך אלוהי המלך, בעברך שמך לעולם ועד. בכל יום אברכך, והללה שמך מעולם ועד. גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, ולגדולתו אין חקר. הדר כבוד הודיך, ודברי נפלאותיך עשיך. זכר רב טובך יביאו, וצדקתך ירננו.
חנון ורחום אדוני, ערך הבית וגדול חסד.
טוב אדוני לכל, ורחמיו על כל מעשיו.
יודוך אדוני כל מעשיך, וכניסותיך יברכוך.
כבוד מלכותך יאמרו, וגבורתך ידברו.
להודיע לבני האדם גבורותיו, וכבוד האדם מלכותו.
מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור.
סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים, וזוקף לכל הכפופים.
עיני כל אליך יסברו, ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם בעתו.
פותח את ידיך, ומשביע לכל חי רצון.
צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, וחסיד בכל מעשיו.
קרוב אדוני לכל קוראיו, לכל אשר יקראו באמץ.
רצון יראיו יעשה, ואת שבתם ישמע ויושיעם.
שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו, ואת כל רשעים ישמיד.
תהילת אדוני ידע בפי, ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד.
ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם. הללויה.
Hallelujah.
page 290, the facing page of Nishmat Kol Chai. Nishmat Kol Chai Tevarechet Shimcha Adonai Eloheinu V'ruach Kol Basa Tefa'er Utromem Zichracha Malkeinu Tamid Min Haolam Va'ad Haolam Ata El Ein Lanu Melech Ela Ata Elohei Rishonim V'Achoronim Eloha Kol Briot Adon Kol Toladot Ham Hulal Barov HaTishbachot Hamnaheg Olamo B'Chesed Uvriotav Barachamim V'Adonai Lo Yanum V'Lo Yishan V'Hamorer Yishenim V'Hamekitz Nirdamin V'Hamasiach Ilmin V'Hamatir Asurim V'Hasomech Noflim V'Hazokev Kefufim L'cha Levadacha Anachnu Modim. In that paragraph, just in the last couple of sentences, we have the elements that are also in the Amidah when we talk about Somef Noflim, V'Zokev Kefufim, Hamatir Asurim, all of those elements towards the end of lifting up the fallen, strengthen those who are bent over, all are part of different parts of our prayer service. So we see it now in one of these Psalms. Page 222. O God, in the power of your strength, great in the glory of your name, mighty forever, awesome in amazing deeds, the ruler who sits on high and exalted throne. O God, your name is holy and exalted. The psalmist has said, rejoice in the eternal one, you righteous. Praise suits the upright. In the mouths of the upright you will be praised, and the words of the righteousness you will be blessed. In the tongue of the faithful you will be exalted, and in the midst of the holy you will be sanctified. In the multitude of choirs of your people, the house of Israel, your name is to be glorified in joy in every generation, O our sovereign. Yishtabach Shimcha la'ad malkeinu ha'el ha'melech ha'gadol v'ha'kadosh b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. Ki lecha na'eh Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu, shir shvacha, halal v'zemra, oz v'memshala, netzech gedulah gvura, tehillah v'tiferet kedusha malchut, barachot v'hodaot, baruch atah Adonai. That reminds me, you know how I just made that error? The very first time I stood on this beamer and I was interviewing here, I made the same error. And so that's been in the back of my mind all of these years when I get here. Do not make that error. And then, of course, I was about to go in and say the wrong word, but I caught myself. Baruch atah Adonai el melech gadol batishbachot el ha'odaot adon ha'neflaot habocher b'shirei zimra melech el chei ha'olamim. The thing is that it's very tempting to say Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, and I needed to catch myself. Let us rise for the Chatzi Kaddish on page 224.
Ve'im
Yotzer or uberei choshech, oseh shalom, uberei et hakol. Hameir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha brachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh bereshit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita, mala ha'aretz kinyanecha. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, va'al morei or she'asita yefarucha sela. Or chadash al Zion ta'ir, v'nizkeh kulanu mehira le'oro, baruch atah Adonai yotzer ha'morot. Page 231. Love your neighbor as yourself, you said. And like blinded, we saw that inner and outer worlds are one as you are one. You spoke and we wrote, we reached for you down the centuries, your light moving before us as we climbed, fell back, and climbed again, your Sinai of life. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher ba'amo, Yisrael ba'ahava. So a bit of a quiz for you. Don't look down at your prayer books for one moment. So this is something that you would have heard from the Bema many, many times. The only person who's not allowed to answer is Rabbi Morgan. The word emet, what's special about it? What's it mean? It means truth. What's special about that word that the rabbis find really special in that word? Capital letters? No? So what's that, Judy? Can you say it a bit louder? So Judy said, Aleph is the first letter of the the Aleph Bet. Tav is the last letter. Mem is the middle letter. So ultimately the Midrash is that Emet, truth, is all-encompassing, all-inclusive, which extends by the nature that God brings us truth, and that's an attribute of God as well. So I'm going to do this pop quiz again. I won't tell you when. That's why it's a pop quiz. So isn't it it's just one of those small things that are so beautiful when you just look at the Hebrew language, that there's the beauty that's in there, the intricacies within the letters, and that I just think it's one of those fun things to notice. So let's read together on top of page 239. Emet, there is no place where you are not. Even in the wilderness, there is your word. Emet, that hand strokes of lightning, white fire, black flame, stir the soul's passion, guide our sacred way. True and enduring is Torah. Your truth for us is certain and established, now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel, we sing out and rejoice. Judy, that wasn't fair to ask you, because you are one of our Hebrew teachers. I did not exclude Judith. So when Judy teaches, you see how much she knows. Please come to her classes. Micha Mocha, page 240. Sorry, Joel.
Solek noflim verofei cholim
53. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time, contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grass of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat abide. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations.
Modim anachnu lach. For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons.
Modim anachnu lach. For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression.
Modim anachnu lach. For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared.
Modim anachnu lach.
For all who have laboured and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose.
Modim anachnu lach.
We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds.
Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lecha na'er le'odot. Sim shalom.
We turn forward to page 362 for Seder Kriyat Torah Shabbat, the order for reading Torah on this Shabbat, page 362.
Adonai
We may be seated. So our Torah reading this morning, as I mentioned, is from Ha'azinu. Caroline is going to read the first part of it, verses 7 to 12. And because we're in the triennial cycle, it's a little bit different section to where Patrick is going to read, because Patrick is reading the section that he read last year as part of his bar mitzvah, and in honor of that, and in honor of that sense of continuity, we are making a bit of a difference, a switch this year. Of course, Ha'azinu is one of the most beautiful prayers, songs in the Torah. Of course, the other famous one besides Ha'azinu is the Song of the Sea. It is Mi Chamocha, another very popular song, not in Torah. Does anybody know which one that is? In Devorah, the Song of Devorah, of Deborah. So there's a song. So there's that type of poetry and prose separate from the general narrative or the laws that we have, which sets the different sections apart and essentially calls us to really take note. And as this parasha begins, Ha'azinu, give ear, let us give ear. Let us not just listen, but pay attention with intention. We had 3 call-ups this morning, and as is our custom, the last one was reserved for those who are in mourning. So Tammy will, what are you going to do, Tammy? You're going to check everybody. You're going to be Gabbai and help everybody along with their Torah reading. So we are on page 1556, 1556, chapter 32, verse 7. So we call to Torah. Ya'amdu Lalia HaTorah, Nachman ben David, Shulam ve'Esther, Yosef ben Abraham, Moshe ben Shmuel, Shlomo, Esther bat Abraham, Shlomo ve'Flora, Yehoshua ben Rephaim, Eliyahu ve'Sophie. We call to the reading of Torah. Norman Sonnenberg, Joe Stupel, Morris Slonim, Astrid Elijah, and Morris Elijah. Our first reader this morning is Caroline. She'll show you where we are beginning. And when we do Hagbah, you'll be able to see the beauty of this section. It's the beginning of Ha'azinu, isn't it? Okay, I'll find it. Relax. Where is it? Towards here. We're actually beginning at verse 7, not at verse 1.
Adonai Yeshaehu El Afrato Adonai Badai Yinachenu Ve'ein Imo El Necha.
Amen. Mishaberach Avatenu Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov Imotenu Sarif Karachem Leah. May the God of our ancestors bless you, Morris and Norm and Joe and Astrid and Morris as well, who is called to Torah, in honor of Shabbat, and in honor of the special birthdays that you are celebrating at this time. Norm, I'm looking at everybody's ages here, and you are most certainly the spring chicken in the group. How do you feel? It's not often, I'm sure, you get called the spring chicken. And in between, we have, following a close second, is Joe celebrating your 85th. Actually, these guys come in first. Joe, your 85th birthday, and Morris and Astrid, your 82nd birthday. But this is the person you've got to look to. You've got to look to this Morris, with having two Morrises on the beamer. You've got to look to this Morris, who's celebrating his 95th birthday. So this is the continuity we're looking for, standing strong and with vigor, and to be part of this community. And we feel so blessed that you're choosing to celebrate your birthdays with us. It's not easy to come back to shul just a few days after Yom Kippur, but it is, I think this is one of the best services of the year. It's smaller, it's intimate, and we're able to do things a little bit more personally. May you celebrate your birthdays with family and with friends and with community. And as the cantor likes to say in Yiddish, but I'll say it in English, may you live to 100 as if you are 20. Mazal tov. Shabbat shalom. Mazal tov. Thank you. So we call to Torah for our next aliyah, the second aliyah. We are jumping to verse 44, chapter 32, verse 44, page 1562, and we call to Torah. Ya'amud l'aliyah Torah Gabriel, Hana'ar, Gabriel, Yosef ben Abraham v'Sarah, Habar Mitzvah v'Hamatir. We call to the reading of Torah, our young man, the Na'ar, the young man, Patrick Prunster, in honor of his bar mitzvah, as he will soon read this section and then the matir. I would love to repeat the verse. Chapter 32, verse 44. Chapter 32, verse 44. It's the section immediately after the psalm.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar mikol ha'amim ve'natan lanu et torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten ha'torah. Amen. Vayavo Moshe ve'yadaber et kol divrei hashira hazot be'oznei ha'am hu ve'Hoshea bin Nun. Vayachal Moshe ledaber et kol hadvarim ha'ele el kol Yisrael. Vayomer alehem simu levavchem lechol hadvarim asher anochi meit bachem hayom asher תצווום את בניכם לשמור לעשות את כל דברי התורה הזאת, כי לא דבר ריק הוא מכם, כי הוא חייכם. ובדבר הזה תאריכו ימים על האדמה אשר אתם עוברים את הירדן שמה לרשתה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Mishaberach Havatena Vahamitzah Yaakov Emotena Sarah Kirachavale. To the God of our ancestors, bless you, Patrick, as you are called to Torah in honor of Torah, in honor of God, in honor of Shabbat. And in honor of this being the anniversary of you becoming a bar mitzvah a year ago on this bima. It was a service that has really stuck with so many of us. The beauty in which you led this service, the thought that you put into putting the service together. You didn't come up and say, okay, we're going to just do these prayers, but you put so much time and effort into crafting a service that was meaningful for the congregation as well as for you. Also sharing with us extraordinary words of Torah in your drash and then of course reading Torah. When you take something on, Patrick, what I've noticed is you take it on with a lev shalem, a whole heart, a full heart, putting your passion into it. Most bar mitzvahs, there's a joke. Have you heard the joke where there was a congregation that was overrun with mice? Do you know that one? And you know how you get rid of the mice? You give them a bar mitzvah. So there's this idea that after, and this is a message for Josh and for Sam over there, they come back after your b'nai mitzvah, come back after your bar mitzvah, come read Torah, come continue to be part of community as you have done, with your hands working so diligently and beautifully, whether it's playing the keys over there, singing, leading different minyanim within the community. And with God's blessing, we hope that this continues for many, many years, so long as it gives you joy and happiness. With God's blessing, we wish you mazel tov. So our next aliyah, Patrick will continue to lay in for us, is on page 1562. We're picking up at verse 48, and we call to Torah, Yamdu Lalia Torah Kola Evelim, we call to the reading of Torah. Members of our community who are here for yahrzeit to remember a loved ones.
Amen. וידבר אדוני אל משה בעצם היום הזה לאמור, עלה אל הר העברים הזה הנבוא, אשר בארץ מואב, אשר אל פני וראה את ארץ כנען אשר אני נותן לבני ישראל לאחוזה. al asher lo kidashtem oti betoch bnei Israel. Ki mineged tir'eh et haaretz veshama lo tavo el haaretz asher ani noten livnei Israel.
Amen. Sheberach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov V'imotenu Sarah Efkarach Avoleah. May the God of our ancestors bless you as you call to Torah, in honor of Torah, in honor of God, in honor of Shabbat, and in honor of the loved ones that you hold in your hearts at this time. It's not easy to step up into a congregation and to identify yourself as mourners and to say, we have lost, I have lost, and to feel that loss and to know that they're not standing on the bima with you. But as I said in my Yizkor remarks, when you stand at Torah, their hand is on your hand when you touch the Torah. Their presence is felt, their love is with you as you continue to bring them to the forefront of your memory at this time. May you be blessed with good memories, with sweet memories, as we wish you not just a long life, but a good life. Amen. We take a moment in the presence of Torah to think of family members, community members who are in need of healing of body, healing of mind, and healing of soul. We are on page 371. And Rosie Alkali. If you'd like to share the name of a loved one for healing, please do so now. Blessed is God who brings healing and comfort to those who are unwell and courage and strength for their caregivers, and we say, Amen. Let us rise for Hagba and Glila as we lift and dress the Torah.
The Haftarah this morning is the traditional Haftarah for Ha'azinu. You'll find it on page 1626, 1626. And it's from the second book of Samuel, chapter 22. As it says in the notes here, just as we read from the Song of Moses in the Parashah, so the Haftarah is a very long prayer attributed to David before his death. So that's the parallel between the two readings. The main difference, though, is that David is much more loquacious than Moses. His prayer goes on for quite some time. You can imagine God in heaven saying, "Enough already," as he says once to Moses, actually. So there are times for short prayers and times for long prayers. The Midrash teaches us, and it's a wise person who knows the difference. In any case, we're going to be reading chapter 22, verses 1 to 20, and then we'll switch to verse 42 on the next page, 1630, to complete the reading. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'neviim tovim v'ratza b'divreihem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'b'Moshe abdo u'b'Yisrael amo u'b'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. Vayedaber David Adonai et divrei hashira hazot v'yom hitzil Adonai oto mikaf kol oivav u'mikaf Shaul. Vayomar Adonai sal'i u'mitzurati u'mefalti li Elohei tzuri echesebo magini v'keren yeshi misgabi u'misoni u'menusi mishi mechamas tishieni mehulal ekra Adonai u'me'oivai ivashea Ki afafuni mishberei ma'avet nachalei v'liyal yevatuni chevlei shaol sabuni kidmuni mokshe mavet Batzali ekra Adonai ve'el Elohai ekra vayishma Hechalo koli v'shavati be'oznav vayidgash v'tir'ash haaretz mozdot hashamayim yirgazu vayidgashu ki chara lo ala ashan v'apo ve'esh mipiv tochel gecholim baru mimenu vayet shamayim vayerad varafel tachat raglav vayirkav al kerov vayaof vayera al kanfei ruach vayashet choshech sevivotav sukkot chashrat mayim avei shechatim minoga negdo barugach le'esh yarei min hashamayim min shamayim Adonai ve'elyon yiten kolo vayishlach chitzim vayefitzem barak vayahom vayera'u afikei yam yigalu bosdot tevel v'garat Adonai minishmat ruach apo yishlach mimarom yikacheni yamsheni mimayim rabim yatzileni me'oivi oz misonai ki amsu mimenu yikadmuni v'yom edi vayehi Adonai mishan li vayotze lamerchav oti yechaltzeni ki chafetz bi. And on page 1630, verse 42. They looked, but there was none to deliver to the Lord, but he answered them not. I pounded them like dust of the earth, stamped, crushed them like dirt of the streets. You have rescued me from the strife of peoples, kept me to be a ruler of nations. Peoples I knew not must serve me. Aliens have cringed before me, paid me homage at the mere report of me. Aliens have lost courage and come trembling out of their fastnesses. The Lord lives. Blessed is my rock. Baruch Tzuli. Exalted be God, the rock who gives me victory. The God who has vindicated me and made people subject to me, rescued me from my enemies, raised me clear of my foes, saved me from lawless men. For this I sing your praise among the nations and hymn your name. Tower of victory to his king, who deals graciously with his anointed, with David and with his offspring evermore. Migdol Yeshuot Malko Vosech Chesed Limshicho LeDavid Ulezaro Ad Olam Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Tzur Kol HaOlamim Tzadich B'chol Adorot Ha'elan Emanu שכל דבריו אמת וצדק על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה לכבוד ולתפארת על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך יתברך שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
Thank you. Let us rise for the prayer for our country and the state of Israel. Of course, the prayer for the country is one that the Religious Life Committee compiled using various sources, including Rabbi Ralph Benending's prayer.
Let us bless our country of Australia and all its people. Let us have dreams in this historic land of dreamers. Let the hot winds from the deserts fire our imagination. Let the red soil of the plains keep us rooted to the things that matter. Let the waters of our rivers, lakes and oceans flow into our hearts, giving us depth and understanding. Help us to remember those who have lived in this land before us and those who have made it their homes in more recent times. Keep our eyes open to the beauty of this land. May we strive to keep its beauty present and strong. May we never be lazy in the work for peace. May we honour those who have died in defence of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they lead with justice and compassion. Let our compassion be like the encompassing coastlines of our continent. May acceptance, kindness and peace live steadily within this ancient and enduring land. Amen.
Amen.
Prayer for the state of Israel. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all those who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead you and advise them, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy in all who dwell there. Amen.
Amen. Remain standing as we turn back one page to page 374 as we return the Torah to the Ark. Wednesday night, after breakfast, went home, climbed into bed, put on the TV, and guess what movie was on? I don't remember the channel, so I can't even give you that clue. The Bucket List.
What's that movie about?
That movie, The Bucket List, it's a great question, Tash. The Bucket List is about two gentlemen, older, the actors are Jack Nicklaus and Morgan Freeman. I think almost everybody has watched it. If you haven't seen it, you've got to see it, Sue. It's a classic. It's a classic. It's funny, it's funny, it's real, and it's about these two guys who are worlds apart, who end up in hospital together, and they both have cancer. And they both are looking at the end of their life, and they're gentlemen that are, I would put in the baby boomer era, maybe a little bit older, and they start to question the meaning of life. They start to question, what is the point of life, and end up writing. The one wrote a bucket list of all the things he'd like to do before he dies, and the other one makes it happen, and they go and do different things. Hike mountains in like Tibet, for example, skydive. That was one of the first scenes when they started, and it's real in the sense in terms of facing death, but it also has its funny moments because let's face it, it's Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicklaus. And when I was sitting there was a moment when I was lying in bed, and there was a moment on the screen that just got me. Especially after Yom Kippur, when Morgan Freeman turns to Jack Nicklaus and says, "Have you found joy in your life?"
They're sitting on top of the pyramids.
But is that they were on top of the pyramids?
The
Yes.
question the Egyptians were asked for their entry to heaven was.
Robert, do you want to come and take over? Hang on. I'm not going to repeat it.
The question the Egyptians were asked as for their entry into heaven were two. The first question was, have you experienced joy in your life? And that was Morgan Freeman asking Jack Nicholson. And Jack Nicholson said yes. And the second question for entry to heaven was, have you given joys to others? And his face fell.
Have you brought joy? Have you brought joy to others? And I thought, what a great movie at the end of Yom Kippur. When you're sitting there and you're starting to think about, from Yom Kippur you come out of and you start to look at, how am I going to be better in the coming year? Thank you for that. How am I going to be better in the coming year? What are the things I'm going to do? What are the things I'm going to change? And the question is, this idea of having, we'll come back to that, the idea of having bucket lists, of creating lists. You know why it's called a bucket list, right? Tash, there's a saying called kick the bucket.
Yes, I know.
Okay, so that's why it's the bucket list. You get it?
Yes, I know what that means.
Good. And so how many people here, in a sense, it may not be written, have some form of bucket list? I think many of us have something in our mind of things we'd like to achieve. You finished yours? There's always one. Well, I think you could add to it. You only had one thing on your list, and that was to marry Joe, right?
Oh, well, that was a long time ago.
It's a few. So the idea with the bucket list is to do things that you haven't yet done. To kind of have this checklist. I've been fortunate that I've had the opportunity over the last few years to do some things on my bucket list. For example, to go to Machu Picchu. And most recently, something I always dreamed about was to go to the Jewish ghetto in Venice. But those are things to do. Those are places to visit. Things to do like jumping out of an aeroplane, I will never do. I will never jump out. I have a tremendous fear of heights. The kind of person that when I'm in the aeroplane, as the aeroplane takes out, I look out the window and go, if we crash, will I survive now? What about now? What about now? What about now? A warp sense there. But the question is, when we look back on our life, what is meaningful? What are the things that we look at? There is a woman who works with aged care, and specifically in palliative care, and many of us do. And she wrote an article. Her name is Bronnie Ware, W-A-R-E, and she's an Australian. And she, having worked in palliative care for many, many years, she found that there were patterns when people were reaching the end of their year. And she came up with five things from her informal research. And at the end of the life, people reflecting back on their lives, and she titled them 5 regrets. 5 regrets people have at the end of their life. The first one she writes about is, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expect of me. You know, thinking about unfulfilled dreams, doing what we think we should do, not what we want to do or need to do. And this is not about whether or not we do something selfishly to hurt somebody, but it's about that meaning. The second one is that people at the end of their life say, and this is for the Board of Governance, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. The third is, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. How many of us don't actually share what we mean? We don't actually share that with others. The fourth is, I wish I had stayed in touch with my loved ones. To continue that level of communication. And the fifth one was, I wish that I had let myself be happier. Have I found joy? Have I brought joy? The example she gives is a woman who was married for 60 years, who married out of because she felt it was the right thing to do. Her husband-to-be went off to war. They married and then ended up in this relationship for 60 years that perhaps she shouldn't have been in, but stuck it through. To look at that and to kind of say, well, these are the regrets that I have in my life. So how do we balance that out? And I'm going to give you another list. And I'm actually going to give you both of these lists for you to take home today that I've compiled. Is, you know, whether it's your bucket list or 1,001 things that we do before we die. Do you know the author of that series? You know, 1,001 things before we die, 50 places to visit, 50 golf courses to play. You know, he died at 47. He had finished half of his list. He slipped on the kitchen floor and hit his head. We know that we can't control what's going to happen today. We can't control what's going to happen tomorrow. And we can make these lists, but we may not achieve them for whatever reason. So the idea is to focus on the emotional and the psychological and the relational, on the personal. And the 10 things, this is in order of, not least important, but it moves up. And the 10 things that bring meaning, that people have said bring meaning to their life. Cherish special friends. Make and keep good friends, be honest with them, because they can be our moral compass in stormy times. Number 9, don't hate those who stumble. Sometimes we have prejudice against people who are less than perfect. But it's about looking at ourselves and saying, we stumble, we fall, we are less than perfect. Show compassion. Forgive. Take responsibility for our own lives. Take number 8. Take responsibility for our own lives. Number 7. Have a big vision and keep goals aligned with your vision. Think about what we want to achieve and set these goals and work towards them. And in that is, one of those goals is deciding what kind of a person we want to be in life. Remember, number 6, death makes life real. Steve Jobs said, remembering that you're going to die is the best way, this is what he said, I know, to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You're already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. And he wrote that when he wasn't well. Number 5, don't worry about making mistakes. We all make them. We've all tried, we've all failed. Number 4, know your strengths. See what is unique within yourself and build upon that. Number 3, be kind to yourself. Number 2, be in the moment, whether playing, sleeping, working, lazing about, being in shul, watching TV, hanging out with someone you love. Give that moment 100% of your awareness. And the last one, number 1, don't forget to laugh. What is that joy? Don't forget that there is joy. Even in the saddest of moments, we can find joy. And I think those simple things. This is not new. We've all heard this before. We all know the regrets. We've all heard this list. But I think sometimes it's just nice to be reminded of them. If you'd like to take a copy of the regrets and the things to consider to make a meaningful life, we'll have some copies at the back of the sanctuary. Shabbat Shalom. Let us continue with Aleinu on page 586. We rise.
לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהותו נשמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגוהר מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד,
to page 598 for Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. And as we turn to the Shiva and Shloshim lists, we think of in our congregation and in our community, for the week of Shiva, the 7 days, we think of Jack Friedman, and we announce the passing of Sylvia Gellman and Julian Rail, who will be laid to rest this coming week. And for the Shloshim, the 30 days of mourning, we remember Ellen Frankel, Magda Gall, Janice Goldberg, Ann Jacobs, Ronald Lowe, Linda Roma, and Rosalind Silva. And the Yahrzeits, the anniversaries of his death, fall on this Shabbat. We remember Edie Alexander, Riva Berelovich, Bettina Burnett, Rose Dobos, Stefania Fast, Sarah Eva Fletcher, Malcolm Fox, Selena Franks, Anne Friedman, George Helfen, Werner Heinrich Jacobi, Emil Holek, Rebecca Yedva, Keith Harris Joseph, Charlotte Kalnocki, Ludolf Katz, Rose Lazarus, Max Liebman, Eva Saxon, Paul Seidman, Colin Silver, Bessie and Leopold Sward, Greta Tobias, Carl Trainer, Julius Sparks, and Henry Weiss. If you'd like to remember the name of a loved one for Shiva, Shoshim, or Yahrzeit, please do so now. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may the memory of the righteous be for a blessing as we join together, again, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, v'yamad divrah karitei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon b'yom echon, v'v'chayed chol Beit Yisrael, v'agala b'zman kariv v'merur, amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevarach l'olam olamei almaya. Yitvarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei d'kudesha b'rechu, la'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'miran v'yama v'yimaru, amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. Oseh shalom v'yimromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. Hamakom yenachem echem v'tosha havlei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn, comfort to all who are bereaved in Zion and Jerusalem and around the world. And we say, amen. As we are seated, our President Rebecca will make some announcements.
Thank you, Rabbi. And thank you, Patrick, Tammy, and Joel, for leading our service and for your liturgy this morning. And welcome everyone. I see many regular shoregoers. Welcome to you, and welcome if you're visiting, and welcome if you're here in memory. Tomorrow is Erev Sukkot, so please do join us from 4:30 as we decorate and celebrate and build up our sukkah, followed by a barbecue, and then the Mariv service at 6:15. And then the next day is Sukkot, Monday morning, and our Shacharit service will be at 10 o'clock. Look forward to seeing you then as well. Our Kol Nidre appeal has started as we pass Kol Nidre. Thanks if you have already given. You should, and you will be, receiving a flyer in the mail explaining the appeal and the opportunities to give. You can also go onto our website where there actually is a place to click that says Kol Nidre appeal. So we appreciate you considering us in your giving at this time. Our next celebration after Sukkot, as Rabbi Ettlinger said, is Simchat Torah, and that will be on Sunday the 30th of September. We look forward. You can see that the shul is in Simchat Torah mode, and we'd love you to come and join us as we dance with the scrolls. Thank you, Dot and Jackie, for helping us as the Shamashim today, and thank you, Caroline and Patrick, for laning. We're going to be having Kiddush in the Friedlander, slight change of venue, so please do join us on your way out. And if you haven't already grabbed a flyer about our new Mishkan Teshuvah, a new Machzor that we'll use next year, please do that. Should be wonderful to have the new Machzor. I wish you Shabbat Shalom.
Patrick and Tammy, what's our final song?
Ein Adir, which is on page 632.
Israel.
prayer books on the way out.